All right, I think I'm now officially live on the YouTubes. All right, so yeah, so my experience a little bit, and maybe a little bit of the background around this. Um, I think both of us pretty early on started doing heavy challenge-oriented runs, right? So leaderboards and basically just trying to push what the game can do and things like that. And the discussion I had a talk with my stream on Friday, Saturday. Was it yesterday? I think it might have been Friday.
Hey, can you come get the dog? She's barking at me, please.
Dogs be doing that. Dogs be doing that.
Oh, no. I didn't mute myself in Discord. Oh no, I mean my stream. Oh no. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. I'll try not to yell at my kids though. On stream. Yeah. So I said I think we've both been pretty aggressively doing. Actually, I should probably get into a run so my chat's not like bored out of their minds.
Just staring at your character screen.
You turn this character selection screen and my head. Let's grab Lita and go. Yeah, so I had a oh whoops, I picked the wrong map. I had a discussion with my chat around like just how I was feeling about leaderboard runs, because I keep doing them because people like to watch them, but I'll be honest, like I have not enjoyed them. Really, this patch has been the worst for me. And I thought it'd be interesting to like see your perspective on it. If you're still enjoying leaderboard runs, if you feel like they're frustrating, if so, what are the main things that you would want to be different to make them more enjoyable? Or if you're saying like, yeah, you know what, actually it's totally fine, hasn't changed for me at all. I would just love to hear your perspective on it.
Sure. So I have a few thoughts right away, and the first is that like with the introduction of Arcanas, it does get really frustrating. Like, you know, you have the perfect build, you've gotten all your passives and your weapons super early. You're like, this is the run, man. I'm feeling really good. You get to 21 minutes and you pick up that Arcana box and you get healing and you get, you know, chaos in the dark, and just like you're not getting bounces or you're not getting slash, and you don't get that, and just like, oh man, I just wasted like what's that, 30 minutes?
Right.
Just to reset again. So it's frustrating, but then also it adds to sort of that dopamine value of like, you know, the pentachest kind of thing, where when you do get that run, it's like, holy, that's it, dude, that's the run, and I won't get another one of those for, you know, another 100 to 200 resets, which makes it frustrating, makes it really tough.
That was kind of the thing for me. Like, I mean, with the levels were never equal in terms of enjoyment. I think library always felt a little bit better than the other maps, because one, there's no early chest, right? So you know the first time you're ever going to be able to evolve is at 10 minutes. So I think that barrier of time compared to like Forest or Dairy Plant or even Green Acres, the fact that like you had off the table, like you were never going to get screwed over because the bat didn't drop a chest, or you were never going to get screwed over because you couldn't evolve gun by 3 minutes on Dairy Plant. Right. And so I think that's why for me at least library was always like, and the fact that library you could just blow out numbers. But in general, that I always appreciated that with library, that like the RNG was going to be weapon pickups, accessory pickups, and like how quickly you can level the right things in the right order. Yeah. And then
just less variables in general.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like, I think that the thing with Vampire Survivors in general is there's a certain minimum skill cap to be able to perform really good leaderboard runs. I mean, but it's not that high.
In the sense of like, skill cap is like, you need all the power-ups, and then you should be able to relatively do it.
Well, I think it's not just that. You need to know certain tech things. You need to know about how to use Labora. You need to know in general how to maneuver, when you can tank hits, when you can, you know, be on a sliver of health and be fine. Like there's a lot of that stuff that you just get a nice feel for when you play the game a lot. Although I will say Lita kind of flattened that curve a lot.
Yeah,
because of the health and the armor and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a minimum level of just like your capability at the game. And then it was just knowing what to pick and all that kind of stuff. And I think that you could learn fairly easy. So, I mean, it's not like the game has a massive skill cap. So I think if you were to compare this with, like, typical speed running, where there is heavy emphasis on high skill cap, like, we're not really in the same ballpark. However, there was a skill cap. You had to be able to perform at a certain level. And then I would say RNG made up probably 60-70% of whether you were going to have a good run or not. And then the other was, like, your ability to perform. I think that has radically shifted. Radically shifted to the point where it's more like 90-10. Like 90% of your run is entirely RNG. And as you said, I think the part that's frustrating for me is it's late RNG. Like, I'm fine. Even though I hate Forest, like, Forest is the absolute worst map for kill runs. I don't know how it is for level runs, because I know level runs are even more RNG than kill runs, so I can't stand them. But...
So, to go off that really quick, I think that level runs have a little bit more leniency with when you're getting items, because, like, with kill runs, it's like, if you don't have duplicator and skull within, 45 seconds, just reset the run.
Yeah.
Versus with, that's honestly a reset probably. Probably should reset here even. With level runs, it's like, if I get skull first, you know, I can go from here. I don't need to have those two items super quickly.
No, that's fair. I think the shift is in level runs, you're often more pickup RNG becomes quite heavy, right? You really need to get rosaries. Although I think that rosaries, they're still pretty important, but they're not as heavy as they were pre, like, Gorgeous Moon and things like that.
So rosaries have gone away.
Oh,
I mean,
serious?
They haven't gone away, but the rosary strategy is out of the door at the moment, because cats are still, even after the nerf, cats are still super strong for level runs.
Ah, okay, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense.
You can still use rosaries. You just have to be like a full library's like hallway a length away, and you just have to make sure that you can run there quick enough that the cats don't consume them before you can get to it.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I've been, as I said, I kind of checked out of level runs fairly early, back when it was super rosary oriented, which was always really frustrating for me, because again, it's late RNG. It's like back when Pugnala was king and you were doing library runs, you really had to get 3 or 4 rosaries to be a contender for even like a top 5 spot. But yeah, so I think this is the thing that's maybe you already felt it, but I've been really feeling it. This late RNG is especially frustrating, because it does feel like a huge waste of time to have such a good early run to just get Arcana screwed, and then at 11 minutes or 21 minutes, basically just you can't win. You can't even get close. You can't even get top 10.
Yeah. It is frustrating, but ultimately, you know, that's the nature of the beast. The game's gonna get updated. They're gonna add more. They're gonna add more stuff. They're gonna take away stuff potentially, and we're gonna have to deal with it and adapt. And it's frustrating. That's how I felt about the new. I'm sure you've seen the Ilmolis, also Mio. You just run back and forth in the flowers.
Yeah.
Leveling up like that.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, come on, bro, that's so cheese. Like, I don't want to do that. And then I did it and I was like, all right, this is fine, you know. But like, it was just I hate that sort of new strategy that's just like, it's goofy and you are super reliant on RNG super early on, and it's just it's the kind of run that gets taken off the leaderboard two days after it's put on, because who's doing this?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's the same with I think eventually Toast. Well, I think it was voted that Toasty's going to get removed from the leaderboard in general. But that was the same with like survival runs. Like survival runs when Toasty came out, there was no survival runs because you can go infinite.
Right. And well, it's for the sanity of like, because you have to consider, you know, how many more players started playing when Asmongold started playing.
Yeah.
How many got like in the game and started wanting to do like challenge runs and get on the leaderboard. How many people do we have moderating the leaderboard, and how many runs are they watching daily? You know, that sounds that sounds awful.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, we saw. I think there was a run, a mistaken run on the library. It was a library or forest. That was like someone had added a 0, so it was like 790,000. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's that. But No, I mean the question. This is the question I posed to my chat, and now also I'm just realizing that my chat is not showing up on screen. So apologize, people watching live, that you're not seeing the chat come on screen. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the chat box for now, while we go. So I'll just quickly. And yeah, for those that are watching, this is in fact live. We're just gonna make this completely opaque for them. Get it off the screen. There we go. Okay, so there's some things that I thought of. I mean, how do you deal with this in a way that doesn't affect the 99% of players that don't care about leaderboards? So I mean, I think that coming from a position of like, how do you make leaderboards still fun, still enjoyable, again, without having to like make the developers do anything, because they really shouldn't. It's not his job is not to make sure that the leaderboard people are having fun. It's to make sure that the 99% of players that are coming in and just playing it, you know, like Asmongold does, which is just to try to get the achievements and win the game and unlock all the stuff and just see what's cool in it. How do you make it still fun for those that are a little bit more hardcore and want to do more challenges? And I had like 3 proposals that I gave. I'd be curious to see your thoughts on those 3 and if you would have any others. The most extreme one, this was proposal number 1. Straight up, you just, Arcanas are banned from leaderboards. You have to play no Arcanas. But very curious on your thoughts on just a straight up Arcana ban for leaderboards.
For leaderboards, you know, I do like that and I dislike it because like I said earlier, you know, Arcana runs are so much fun when you get the ones that you want. But if we have like one section for Arcana runs, one section for not Arcana runs, there's twice as many potential submissions that those people are going to have to watch and approve for ultimately what, you know? What are we gaining from being top 10 or top 5 or number 1 on
I can still read chat. I just can't show it on screen if you're asking, because you can ask questions.
So
no, I can
think,
still see the chat.
You know, I've sort of like, I like doing level runs personally and just leaderboard runs in general, but it's lost the appeal of being number 1 on those, because what, you're number 1 for 2 days and then somebody comes in with an all new crazy strat and then you're number 7 because everybody else just does that and then it's done, and then you get a new Arcana and that completely flips the game. So I think that it's hard to make any of these calls before everything that's going to be out in the game is out.
No, I agree with that. This is for a lot of the same reasons that you mentioned. I like Arcanas in leaderboard runs. One, because they're just damn fun, especially the last 2, like the bouncing Arcanas, adding whole new mechanics to the game that weren't there. Like, I love that, and I would hate to restrict leaderboard runs to be. I think they would feel very bland, right? Like, you would lose the coolness of, you know, when we had Burn as a major Arcana everyone was taking, and I like that. I think that's really cool. So I kind of agreed with that. I had the discussion, and then I came to the conclusion that this isn't a good option, because I think Arcanas are way too fun to restrict out.
Not only that, but in addition, the new, like, the Bone Zone, are we going to be able to do that without Arcanas? Like, that's already really hard as is, and I struggle with like 130% curse to actually finish a lot of the time. So like, I don't want to be doing runs in the Bone Zone just to be upset about not being able to finish the run in general, you know?
No, that's fair. So the second option that I thought of, and this is currently not allowed, but if we could share save games. So meaning that you prep a save with the Arcanas that you want, with the items that you want, with the weapons that you want, and those are just generally publicly available. You can grab somebody's perfect save and you can use it to do your leaderboard runs. So again, before giving my commentary, what are your thoughts?
That's actually when you first started mentioning proposals, that was one of the ones that my chat was saying. I think Mr. Steffi's in here. I think he said that. And I want to say that a couple other users said that as well. But that's a really good idea. It's just like, here's the designated save files for this leaderboard category. You can use that, and that's all you can use.
And I would be fine if in the leaderboard you had to like submit the save file you used. If it's a public one, you just reference it, and if it's one that you made, you make it available so that people can try your run with the same save. Also to validate that you didn't cheat. Like, I would be cool with that. I think it's a really good setup. I'm a little bit confused why it got banned so quickly, but Dex informed me that like he was doing some gold runs using prepped save files, and there was like a kind of harsh reaction. I personally don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I think that would be fun, because then you could, you have to put in the work, right? Someone would have to put in the work to build. I would prefer if people aren't coding a save file, if you know what I mean. Like if they're actually legitimately prepping them, I think that that's totally fine.
Yeah, right.
But there was some pretty heavy pushback on that.
It eliminates the RNG factor using save files. I don't think it eliminates the RNG factor. I think it limits the RNG factor, which makes it less frustrating because you have less chances to lose a run for something ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think on that note, it's not that if you have to create a save file, you will have at a minimum knife, Bible, Santa water, axe. Like these are you can't not have these weapons. So
right.
You will never get to the point of having only the 6 weapons that you want and only the 6 accessories that you want. Because just by virtue of trying to unlock the other ones, you will be forced to pick up other things. But I think where it becomes a lot more relevant is in Arcanas. Arcanas, you really can kind of pick and choose which ones. And I think that that's where the most frustrating RNG right now comes from, is Arcanas. And I think that's where, for me, I would get the most benefit. Even if I had every other item, an accessory, and weapon, whatever, it would just be Arcanas. So that's option number 2. My option number 3 was more or less the same as option number 2, but that the devs do us a solid and help us out, and that would be sandbox mode. Meaning that you...
we forget.
Oh, go ahead.
It is one dev. It's a single guy working on this game.
Yes, it is one dev. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. He did hire 3 or 4 freelancers that are now supporting him. He was able to splurge and get some support, which is why the updates have been going faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, it's one guy leading the development team. But if he were to do us a solid and give us a sandbox mode where you could have a minimum number of selected weapons, a minimum number of selected accessories, and a minimum number of arcana, that I think would also solve the problem without having to do saves, right? So then you could say, okay, you have to take at least 10 weapons, at least 10 accessories, and at least 8 arcana. And that's going to be the minimum RNG that everyone will have to deal with when doing leaderboard runs. But again, that would require him to build that, and I don't know if there's enough of a demand outside of this kind of core group to actually want something like that.
I don't like that idea as much.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
Personally, I can't necessarily articulate it. I think that if you're gonna sort of limit people, go more or less all or nothing. Don't go, you can use these 4 arcanas or these 8 arcanas. I think go arcanas or don't go arcanas.
So you would literally, so my thought was less that like you had to pick between a selection there, but that in your sandbox mode, you couldn't just pick 6 weapons, 6 accessories, and 3 arcanas and run. So that you had like 0 RNG. That was the thought. But I could also see it just being, a sandbox mode, you can do whatever the hell you want. And then the leaderboard itself can make rules around minimums and things like that.
Legit 0 RNG. So you're saying you put in your designated build and you get that, and that's all you get?
That's what I was saying I would avoid. So I would say like, in this world where we have like a pick your own run, you still have to pick more than 6 accessories, more than 6 weapons, and more than 3 arcanas, but you wouldn't have to take everything, and you could handpick which ones you wanted to bring in. So they could say, you have to take at least 10 or 12, you can take at least 10 or 12 weapons, 10 or 12 accessories, and you have to take at least this number of arcana, but you can pick which ones they are, and you can eliminate the other ones that you absolutely don't want.
Okay, no, I take it back. I do like that. That's a good idea.
So that would be just like, similar to like if you were playing Hearthstone or any of these deck builders where you pre-select your deck, but you don't select the order, and there's a minimum amount you have to have in your deck. those were the three major thoughts that I had. I don't know, anything come to mind from you or chat of other ways to deal with just the ever-growing RNG factor in the competitive runs?
I don't have anything like super high level or significant. There is like nitty-gritty stuff in my mind that could be improved on, that could be super easy to implement, like a reset button. Just let me, like, instead of options, start left, options left, quit, and then space, just let me hit reset and start immediately over. Save me the 5 seconds, you know?
No, I think that's fair, and there's a couple things like that that I assume. I mean, I'm speaking from a position of ignorance because I work with software developers all the time, but I'm not a software developer. But I assume that a reset button like that should be fairly easy. But again, I'm not a developer, and also you have to think about like what is the priority, right, for the developer. But yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think a reset would be super nice. I also would love, how to say it? I would also love a way to, I'm trying to think how to express my thought here. I would love a way to see more details around the run than we currently get. So currently we get DPS. I would love kills per second. I would love, like, there's a lot of data that I think would help inform runs better, because like we're always making choices. I mean, the first two weapons, you're gonna take guns, you're probably gonna take Labora, and then, you know, Wild West from there. If you're doing level runs, you're gonna take Gorgeous Moon, but then it gets Wild West, right? It would be great to understand how many of your weapons are actually
what's more important early on.
Yes, exactly.
100%, I feel that. And like even you know, a pause screen that shows you what your current kills are for a weapon, what the current DPS is, because that damage is all being tracked based on your time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You should be able to just like push that into a meter.
So I think there's some things like that that would be really nice.
Sorry, Halion with a rate of 169. Dude, thank you so much. Welcome, Raiders.
Halion, isn't he like, he's the, oh my god, he's the, was doing heavy, what's it called? Damn, Hades. Huge Hades player who's now doing more variety stuff.
Yeah, he is. He's playing a lot of Elden Ring recently. Yeah, dude, thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. We're talking about, stuff we would like to see in Vampire Survivors in the future, and how it can be improved. Most of you are tired from Hades ripping pieces. Oh, it's so sad.
So, then I'd like to talk about a little bit, because I think leaderboards, again, it's a very niche population that is super interested in doing these leaderboards, doing this kind of stuff. And so then looking at like the game development as a whole, what I like. So if I'm a 99% player, meaning that I'm not a streamer, I'm not a content creator, and I'm not a competitive player, I definitely feel like the types of improvements that he's made to the game and the new content 100% align with that type of person. And what I've been noticing, and if I compare this with a lot of other games that I have followed pretty closely, games that, and I don't think Vampire Survivors is intended to be competitive, by the way. I think it's hard, kind of. It was hard, at least when you didn't have all your power-ups, but it was a kind of a hard game, and it's a pretty short game. Like, you're playing in 30-minute stints, and there's a lot of different things that get tracked that you can try to, like, get max scores on, and so just by the fact that it has all these things, it just lends itself to competitiveness. But I think it's largely not a competitive game, right? And given that, I love that every update so far has been just throw whatever onto the wall and have fun. Like, it's not really been balanced It's not really been trying to fine tune the game.
This game is I've had YouTube comments that people are like, "Don't you think this game is too easy now? Like, how do you still have fun with this game?" It's like because you can find ways to challenge yourself, and not only that, they're constantly implementing things. And you know, I love getting a 220 one day, and then the next week something's added to the game, and all of a sudden we're getting 240s in terms of all run threes, and then all of a sudden now we're getting 270s, and like it's just so much fun to me to see how much we can push it based on what we used to do and what we're doing now.
I love it. I think every patch. I will say that the difference from going from Pugnala to Lita has definitely been the biggest jump we've ever had in terms of just how I would say the cap just raised like so much from Pugnala to Lita. And by the way, I'm a proponent of Lita being in the game. I think any character you can unlock in the game without editing game files should be used. I even, in principle, don't agree with the Toasty ban, although I understand, like, for survival and gold runs, it's a dumb thing, right? Like, apart from that, I think it's pretty dumb. But in principle, I'm of an opinion that, like, yeah, let's say that every character who is available in the game is available for leaderboards without, again, editing game files. I think missing no is an exception because you actually have to, like, change the game files. But anyway, going back to this idea, like, I 100% agree. I think that every single time new content comes out, it's never what you expect, which, again, very contrary to other games that I've followed very closely like this. Nobody expected Soul. Nobody expected Gato. Nobody expects this stuff, and I think it's great. I think it's fantastic, and I think it brings people back in a way that other games may not, because their patches are so predictable. As soon as we get character, this is Sephi. As soon as we get character-specific leaderboard, the Lita hate will tone down. I agree with that, and I understand the hate because it does flatten, because Lita is so strong in so many categories. But I agree with that. I think getting more character-specific is also a way to eliminate so much focus on Lita as it is right now.
Yeah, I think that's really like all my immediate thoughts on the game and how it could be changed in terms of like just like leaderboard specifically.
So let's pivot a little bit then, and there's been a huge amount of talk around the other mystery endless game mode. There's been discussions around multiplayer, which I personally don't see ever getting introduced in the game, even under the new engine. Just because netcode is a whole different animal than, like, you know, just making a game run and function properly. But let's imagine pie in the sky. You were to come up with different possible game modes, and in particular multiplayer game modes. What would be the way you would want to structure that?
Multiple game modes?
So just if you were to add another game mode, and that can be multiplayer, single player game mode, how would you want it incorporated? And then maybe even talk about, because the dev has mentioned many times endless mode. Do you have concerns around endless mode? Do you think that would be fun? Like, I'm curious your thoughts on some of this kind of stuff that I've seen discussions around.
Mode definitely is the most like wanted and feasible, because you can just like scale the enemies and just make them get harder and harder and harder, and see how long people last for. Because there are people that are insane and will do, you know, like Laurel Land set runs and be in there forever. But then you can also do I don't know, endless runs where you're going to kill specific. So how long what am I trying to say? How long can you survive but also get the most kills and do most damage? So you have to like sacrifice weapons, obviously. So I think endless mode we'll probably see relatively soon, especially considering there's more devs working on the game now.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of multiplayer mode, I wish that I could know how that works, because that would involve, like, you queue up against somebody, say you queue up for a specific category, both of you are looking for kill runs, maybe? Are you offered the same weapons? Is it just different RNG, and whoever gets luckier is going to win? Because that would be frustrating. And also, if we get into the same match and they get better weapons than me, and there's a meter that shows how I'm doing in terms of kills and how they're doing, and I can see they're way ahead of me, you know, I'm just going to quit. And if they implement sort of that multiplayer system and you don't want to, like, constantly have somebody disconnecting, you're going to have to implement some sort of rating system. And then if you're going to go for ratings, then people are going to start, like, trying to manipulate the game to do that. I think it gets a little muddy and would be hard to do. But I would be very interested in how they would approach it and would like to play that, personally.
My only concern with endless mode is I think that once you have your build set up, apart from some specific waves, I find it to be the least fun moments in the game is when your build is set. I think the most interesting part of Vampire Survivors for me is the build, like getting your build, getting set up, and then the longer that time that you're just running the build, I find that to be less interesting. It's more just moving or standing still for as long as possible. So I would like to see a way to, like, make an endless mode more interesting past 20 minutes. That's my only concern. It's just that, as I said, like, between, I would say, 15 minutes and maybe even later than that, maybe like 18 minutes and 30 minutes is my least favorite part of the run, compared to the first 18 minutes where I'm, like, trying to get chests, trying to get my levels and all that kind of stuff. That's maybe a personal thing. Maybe not everybody feels the same way about that. But in general, I kind of agree with the idea of endless mode and the appeal of it, being able to really push your build to its limits. People in chat are upset because I keep missing.
I'm thinking of PvP multiplayer. I should be thinking of PvE. You queue up with somebody else and you work together to conquer maybe like a specific map. That'd be really cool. That's a good idea.
So here's my...
Mr. Steffi also had a good idea. Sorry to cut you off before.
No, go ahead.
He says Twitch integration so viewers can pick your build. That sounds really cool and like a lot of fun.
I've done that, but it's hard, right? You have to do it through polls and it takes forever. But yeah, exactly. I 100% agree. Here's my $1 million Vampire Survivors idea. Do it as a battle royale, where 20 players are playing the same seed, and as you kill enemies, you build up powers to launch attacks to a random other player. Like, you can launch a Green Reaper at them, or you can disable one of their weapons for 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, but something like that. And it's just whoever lives longest wins. So, like Tetris 99, but with Vampire Survivors. That would be, for me, like the ultimate Vampire Survivors multiplayer experience. So it's competitive, but it's pretty much apples to apples, and it's more about survival than pumping numbers.
Yep. I just lost my build. I got to the 21-minute box, and all I needed was my bounces, but now I've got the Waltz of Pearls, I've got healing, Lost and Found Painting, and Heart of Fire. I'm on such a good run, and it's just, it's basically ended just like that. I'm gonna finish it out, but come on. Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't paying close enough attention. I could have gotten the tome like 5 minutes before I actually got it.
Dude, I've done that like 4 times today.
Yeah, where are the vampires? This is true. This is true. Vampire Survivors is not complete until there is at least one vampire in the game.
No, I thought, aren't we the vampires? Because if it's vampire surviving, vampires survivors, which means the vampires are surviving, which means we are surviving, which means we're the vampires?
So there's that theory, but also when you open the coffins, they keep saying the vampire's in another coffin, which means at least those 4 characters are canonically not vampires. Also, Ol Sol is not a vampire, and Yada is not a vampire because they are, respectively, a bear and a dog. So there's at least 6 canonically non-vampire characters in the game. So that would be one multiplayer mode. I thought about co-op. I think co-op could be cool. I'm not 100% certain how they code it though. Like, because it's all right now just like enemy go toward player. So how do you do that when there's 2 players? Like, I think that might also create a lot of, like, could you get to the point where you and the other player are spaced out perfectly so that enemies just don't walk towards either of you?
Interesting.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like logically that'd be hard to do. We're using vampire killer weapons from Castlevania series. All right, well, hey, I'm 26, so leave me alone.
But no, I think in general...
3 weapons, 3 abilities per player. Interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
In general, I think the direction of the game is correct. I think it should be more and more ridiculous, more and more breaking the game as it goes on. I think this is the right direction. I think one of the reasons people keep playing the game as well... This is, again, I'm speaking for...
Right now.
I'm speaking for the 99% that I am not, but I assume, just based on what I see in comments, things like that, a lot of people play this game because there's so many achievements, and the achievements actually give you content. Like, what a crazy concept. Unlocking something via an achievement.
Yeah. Instead of paying 99 cents for it.
Or, like, alternatively, just getting the extra content, and then the achievements are just literally badges. Yes, I am in fact streaming on YouTube. Yeah. No, I'm not streaming on Twitch right now because I just wanted to do something for YouTube. I haven't done a YouTube dedicated stream in a while, and I thought it'd be nice to be on YouTube for a moment. I'll be on Twitch later today if you guys want to join me later. I'm glad they're not doing story mode. I don't see how that would ever fit in a fun way. So I think that was a smart move to abandon story mode. And then, I mean, the other question is, like, after 1.0, so we're going to get a whole bunch more weapons, whole bunch more items, whole bunch more maps. What would you assume the longevity of this game is for a typical player? You kind of made your account around Vampire Survivors. You've got the Bible as your logo. Do you picture yourself in 1 year still burning through Vampire Survivors? That's another question.
That's a good question. So, I think this game is definitely going to burn itself out once all of the updates come out and once the game is quote unquote officially released. If you hadn't noticed, I actually changed my name. So
I know, I did saw that. I did see that.
But so I have that changed. So I sort of preemptively tried to account for that. But I mean, I think that just like any other YouTuber who got their start in a specific game, I'll continue to play that game. Just like NL, you know,
yeah.
If you have the Northernline, he still puts out Isaac videos, and he's made what, like 5,000 or something like that. I think there will always be a soft spot in my heart for this game, and primarily right now, you know, I'm grinding it and I'm still loving it. But once the game is fully out, I'll still do a run here and there and probably post, I would think, a Vampire Survivors video every day, but, you know, do other stuff. Risk of Rain, Hades, constant new fun games coming out, like Elden Ring, you know?
Yeah.
There's always stuff coming out that people like to see. It's just a matter of, like, if you're having fun doing it. I want to say, like, if you're going to be successful doing it, but all that matters is, like, if you enjoy doing it, you know?
That's what I mean. I did that pivot, right? So I was Monster Train, heavy Monster Train before end of last year, and then I did the big pivot. And for me, the pivot worked out. It was completely luck-based, so this was not planned that I would do lots of Vampire Survivors content. It just happened to be what was successful and went on there. I will say I've been a little bit more pointed in other games that I've been playing recently, doing research and all that kind of stuff to try to obviously I'm going to play games that I enjoy, but I also want to play games that are getting traction and not dumping a lot of time into a game that isn't hitting the ground running with players. But
yeah, it definitely is. It really is definitely mentally draining to go live and you're playing a game that people aren't used to seeing you play, and your numbers are low, and it sucks to see. And you know, I feel that with YouTube, where it's like you post a video and you get that gray arrow. You're not getting the reaction you hoped you would get, and it's like, oh man, why am I even making videos? Do people why do people like the content? But that's not what matters. What matters is that you
Yeah.
enjoy playing the game.
You know what? Honestly, the thing that helped me a lot last, like just qualifying as a partner, just getting qualified on YouTube to start monetizing, like those are huge milestones. Just because you don't have to stress anymore about like, damn, is like this is gonna hurt my chances of, you know, getting partner or hurt my chances of getting to 1,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like that was a big release for me on Twitch. Where now, like, I streamed today, like, Rogue Legacy 2, and, like, yeah, I had, like, 60 people on stream. But that's fine, because I'm not trying to get 75 average for Twitch anymore. So it's okay. I can have down streams, and it doesn't hurt like it did when I was, like, going gung-ho for partner.
Sure.
I will say partner's not as great as it was.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
Have they made the changes already yet?
Well, the changes have been live for a while. The bigger change is retroactively adjusting people's split. So every new streamer, I think since the beginning of 2021, with a few exceptions, has gotten a 50-50 split, even at partner. So same as affiliate split. The main difference of partner is that
sucks.
Yeah, the main difference of partner now is that you get like front page occasionally, and you're a little bit heavily skewed towards you in terms of promotion, and you have some other functions, but that's basically it. Which is lame, but it is what it is.
But dude, you get a check mark.
You get a check mark.
You get a check mark.
Yeah, that's true. You get a check mark. This is the real thing. How about a maze mode? I mean, I've always been a big proponent of maze maps in this game. I think that'd be fun. I would love the idea. Like, I think Dairy Plant got part of the way there with traps, but the problem is the traps are often more useful than they are negative if you're going for kill runs. I would love. I think Gallo Tower is a little bit more in that direction with traps that just are straight up bad because they just hit you with projectiles. I would love requiring a little bit more skill to survive beyond just picking the right things, you know? Having to maneuver effectively around traps, having to maneuver through a maze, I think that'd be fun. But, I think those are my main topics. And hot damn, you have 680 people on your stream right now.
Dude, I think I got rated twice since we've been talking.
Nice.
Halion, and then somebody said I was on front page.
Nice.
Monk-ass.
Well, damn.
This run's not too hot. This is 182k kills. Sag.
So I'm gonna have to apologize to my YouTube stream. This is as long as I had planned to do for today. We will do another YouTube exclusive stream relatively soon, but I wanted to have the discussion with BenEvolved, and just kind of talk about where we think the game is right now while doing a run. I didn't do that great. I got 168k. That was my leaderboard run. That got me into the top 100, I think. But yeah, appreciate the discussion. We should do a follow-up, maybe in a few patches, or maybe in the next patch, just to see if we think things are getting better or not. And for the 672 people that are watching BenEvolved, thanks for joining his content. He's a great guy. You should watch more of him. If you haven't subscribed yet, you must be out of your damn mind. Just click the button.
Just subscribe. It's so easy, and then it's free. I guess not on here, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for the shout out, guys. Go follow Never Nathaniel. Links in chat.
All right, guys. I'm gonna head out. If you want to watch me play a little bit more, I will be on Twitch. The link is in the description of the video. I'll jump onto Twitch probably in like 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And we'll do some more Vampire Survivors as well as maybe some Planet Crafter. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to start mixing in more YouTube streams. His voice is too low. You don't trust him. That's fair. That's fair. So appreciate you guys jumping out. Really awesome to see you guys here again. And I will see you next time I go live. Otherwise, hope you guys are still enjoying the video.